Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thank you as always for being here. We've got some brand new DIYs today, so let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. All right, I have a piece of pallet wood from my stash. I'm going to sand it down because this one is quite rough, and I just want to get all of the edges smooth so I don't end up giving myself any splinters, and it is smooth enough to work with. It is not perfect, but it is going to have kind of a rustic thing going on, but at least it's not splintery. I'm going to clean up all of the sawdust on my surface, and now I am ready to start painting. This is inspired by something that I've seen online, and I'm kind of making my version of it. I'm just kind of taking my Adirondack white chalk paint and making a bunch of squiggly lines, starting in different places, different lengths, kind of different shapes, until I have everything filled in. Gave it a little bit of a blow dry with my heat gun, and now I'm going to take my pencil and draw the outline shapes of sailboats. And I'm going to make them different sizes and apply them all over the board. I'm, in hindsight, having watched this as I was editing the footage, I realized that I should have added in some seabirds as well. So I might go back later and add some of those in, but I do think that this turned out super sweet just the way that it is. But as you can see, I've got the outlines of several different boats here. I've selected a few different shades of blue. This is my Nantucket blue. I have, I'm trying to remember the name of that other bright blue that's on the left there, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Hopefully it'll come to me in a second. But then the third one is crystal. It's almost a white. It's a very pale, icy blue. And I'm going to be painting in the sailboats with these shades of blue. So I'm going to let you watch for a second, and I am just going to be silent. So once I had everything painted, I went ahead and helped it with the dry time a little bit. And then I did go back over the crystal and give it a second coat of paint, largely because the white squiggles were definitely showing through because that was such a light color. Once I had that all dry again, I flipped it over to the back side. And this is some floral wire that I have that it's just been in my stash for quite some time. I think I got this in a Michael's grab box quite a while ago. I haven't been back to try to grab the grab boxes anytime recently. I might have to think about doing that again, although I've got so much stuff in my stash. But I went ahead and stapled either side of that down. As you can see, I'm just kind of twisting it around on itself. to help secure it and not have that poking out. And then I'm going to take the stapler again and just reinforce it right over top. And that's it for this one. Let me know what you think. DIY number 2. All right, this is my watercolor paper. I just pulled out a sheet of that. I have my Dollar Tree watercolors. These I've used quite a bit. I'm impressed that they're still going and they work actually quite well. So I added some water to the blue and the green. I am going to end up using the yellow a little later as well, but this is a water brush. So inside that semi-opaque area that I'm holding, you're able to fill it up with water. So this is just water that I'm applying to my paper in a particular shape and pattern. I know it's really hard to see the water on the paper. I'm going to zoom it in here a little bit in case it helps for you to see what I'm doing. But essentially I'm creating a head, shoulders, and the beginnings of the front legs for a turtle shape. So once I had the water applied, I'm going to go ahead and grab a paintbrush. I'm going to dig in on that blue and just drop some color here to fill in. I think this is such a fun thing to do with watercolors. I've seen someone on, I believe it's TikTok, and I cannot remember the name of the artist, but she does all kinds of different things with watercolor, and I think it's such a fun thing to watch how the color just spreads out within the water that's been deposited on the page. But I'm going ahead and taking that color that I've already deposited and kind of trying to come up with the shape of the body here. I'm going to add some more water and going to continue to do this. This was actually inspired by, again, something that I think I had taken a picture of it in Hobby Lobby quite some time ago. They had a display with all different, I want to say seashore elements, beach elements, coastal decor. That is what I was looking for. And they had a turtle in it. So there's the little turtle that I'm referencing. And he obviously was not a watercolor. He was a little figurine, but I liked his shape. And it inspired me to create this painting. So I was kind of going back to that picture from time to time just to kind of figure out how I wanted this little guy to look. So I am going to be silent for a little while longer and let you watch how I paint this little guy. Now a little bit of black for his eyes. And then I did start mixing some blue and green and white together there in that little area that normally holds the paintbrush. And I'm going to use that. I wanted a light kind of aqua turquoisey. I'm not sure that I got the right kind of color. I wanted it to be different than his little flippers or feet, head. I wanted the color to be different, but I wanted something that was going to be water related. So that was the color that I came up with. And again, it was mixing the blue, the green, and the white. And I'm just dropping a whole lot of water onto my page here and then depositing that color and just letting it flow in. I am kind of sweeping it across the page in some areas, trying to add a little bit more water to get it to flow. I didn't want there to be brush strokes for this, so I was doing my best to have enough water deposited on the sheet to kind of help the paint kind of just do its thing. Not sure how successful I was, but I do think it turned out really cute in the end. So just adding a little bit more where it needs it. And that's going to be it for this. Now, because of the amount of water that I put on here, you're going to see in a moment that when it dried, it did not dry flat. It was in need of some assistance because it's pretty wonky when it dries. Here you're gonna see, but I think he's looking super sweet. And I don't know why I decided to do this, but that was my spray bottle. I sprayed it with some water. I guess I thought maybe it'd help the colors to blend, but you can see how wonky it is. So I've got my easy press there. I'm going to be ironing it in a second. Meanwhile, I wanted to grab the square frame out of this. This is also from the Dollar Tree. It was this little thing for your laundry room, said wash. But as I was getting ready to try to use it and prep it, I was going to paint it. But I could just tell that it had been just too damaged from the staples that had been used. And it wasn't going to be as neat looking as I wanted it to be. So I grabbed this other shelf sitter from my stash. And this is something that I'd gotten from the Dollar Tree quite some time ago. I'm using my little Dollar Tree razor blade to scrape off the wording that was right there on the glass. This is basically a shelf sitter frame with glass that they had written on or printed on. So I got that all scraped off using some isopropyl alcohol here. This is 91%. I'm just giving this a quick wipe down, make sure it's nice and clean. And then I was showing you my agave chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the frame with the agave because I wanted it to be something that it was going to go with the watercolor that we just painted. So I'm going to give that actually a couple of good coats of paint. I want to make sure I did both sides so that when you looked in at the image, it didn't have like black around it on the inside of the glass. I did forget that I should leave that bottom edge alone. So you're going to see in a little bit that I'm going to scuff it up with some sandpaper so that my glue will adhere. But for the time being, I've got my little pad down there to absorb the heat and used some parchment paper and just kind of gave that a quick iron to try and get it to lay a little bit more flat. So this is all dry now. I'm ready to go. So here you can see I'm going to just scrape this up. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to hit the edges. I don't want to hit the sides. Just this this area where I'm going to be applying the image or the painting, so to speak, because I'm going to glue it right smack onto this. So using my hot glue, I'm trying to work. Well, first of all, I'm trying to get the glue to come out, but then I'm going to try and work relatively quickly because I wanted to be able to lay this down all at once. Now, the glue that I laid down first absolutely did cool faster than I could get the paper down on it. So I didn't show it to you, but basically my solve for that is to use my heat gun and blow it hot again until it melts the glue, and then I can press it back down into the glue. So up at the top there, it really wasn't sticking very well. So that's essentially what I did so that I could get this to stick. But in the meantime, I went ahead and grabbed that razor blade again. I just cleaned up the edge because I didn't tape off the glass. You certainly can. Might save you this step, but I just used a razor blade to clean up the glass around the edges where I got some extra paint. Once I had it reinforced by reheating that hot glue and got the image all squared away, I am using my X-Acto knife, and I'm just trimming off that little teeny tiny edge. You might have just seen it there when I turned the frame. It's hard to see here. You can see a little bit of it at the top, but it's like maybe 2 millimeters hanging off that I went ahead and trimmed. But let me know what you think. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. Cute rose. Oh my goodness, these are so sweet. I especially love that heart wreath. Beautiful and awesome. Valerie, these are making me so excited for Easter. I would love to give you a shout out as well. If you have interest, just send me an email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 3. All right, these are decals from the Dollar Tree along with a piece of scrapbook paper from the Hobby Lobby. It looked like sky to me, so I thought it would work out well for what I'm looking to do here. I've got a piece of parchment paper, and I was going to line everything up on the parchment paper first, and then I figured that would help me get this applied onto the paper in a way that will make sure that it is straight. And I was thinking maybe I'd be able to figure out how to get it all on here at once together, and yeah, that didn't work out, but I was able to manage to get everything lined up again after the fact. But first of all, I'm just trying to make sure I've got everything centered, top to bottom, left to right. Once I had it positioned, I'm going to fold the parchment paper underneath the decal. It took a little bit of maneuvering just to make sure that I had enough of it out of the way so that I could start adhering my decal onto the paper. And I'm just making sure I'm not letting it move anywhere. I'm holding everything in place while I get that done. And once I had that top part anchored, I was able to start pulling more of that parchment paper away and just kind of pressing it down as I went. Now, because this was split into two, it's going to split again with the and. Had I maybe come from the side, I don't know how well that would have worked, to be honest, just because of the varying, that edge. It's not a straight down edge, right? So I don't know. I could have tried to come from the side and then all of it might have stayed together, but I think this was probably the best way to do it. Just trying to think about what could have gone wrong had I tried to do it from the side and tried to keep it all as one piece. I think it might have ended up splitting. But I got it all laid down. I was happy with the way that it was looking. And now I'm going to take my butterflies, and these are outlined in gold, which I thought worked perfect because of the gold arrows on the wild and free decal. So I got those all placed around, and then I was trying to decide how I wanted to frame this. It's a 12 by 12 because it is scrapbook paper. And I thought about framing it completely with these. These are the heavy, thick skewers that are more like 3 feet long that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I think they come in a pack of 10. But I had these left over loose on my stash. And ultimately, I decided I wasn't going to frame the whole thing. I was thinking kind of like a scroll or dowels, if you think about top and bottom with that kind of a look to it. So I just made sure that everything was nice and trimmed. I did cut them a little bit longer, knowing that I wanted to use the top as a hanger. I decided that the bottom should be shorter. It should not extend over the length of the paper. So I went ahead and trimmed that off, as you can see. Now I'm going to grab my parchment paper again to protect my surface and make sure that I don't end up gluing this to my table. Just trying to put a very thin layer of hot glue along the bottom edge. And I'm going to drop that skewer right down on top of there. This is going to help weight it. So when you hang it up on your wall, it's not going to flop around because, again, this is just scrapbook paper. It is a heavier weight paper, but it's not cardstock, so it's not super weighty. So this is going to help to weigh it down. I did have some hot glue that was kind of just smooshed out along there, and it was bothering me. So I trimmed that away. I'm going to grab my scissors here and trim that up some more. And then I'll be ready to do the top side as well. So I'll flip it around and do the same thing with the top. But this top piece is going to have that hangover of about 1 inch on either side. And that's going to provide me with a way to create a hanger for this. So again, really thin coat of paint all the way along that edge, and then I will drop the skewer right down on top of that. Making sure that it's nice and lined up, nice and straight. Look at that pressed down. I didn't have as many issues with the hot glue sticking out on that particular piece. And now I am ready to create my hanger. So I have this gold ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap it around the dowel using some hot glue to secure it. And that's going to create just a really simple little hanger that, again, complements the gold bits and pieces that are part of the design. Now, I was afraid that this would be easy for it to come undone. So as you saw, I did glue it the one time. I'm going to wrap it around again with more glue. So I just added a little bit more glue. I'm going to wrap it again one more time just to make sure it's secured. Now, in hindsight, if I had to do it again, I would have wrapped it the opposite direction. And you're going to see what I'm talking about in just a minute when I'm all done, because I wrapped it in such a way that it's coming down over the front of it when it's hanging as opposed to going behind it. And I don't know, it just felt like it was hanging a little strangely to me, but I still think it's super cute. Let me know what you think. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the projects, please remember to give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know which one was your favorite. And until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.